Hello and welcome to the season that was, brought to you by AAMI. I'm Beveridge. This is Kane Cornes. Today we're looking at St Kilda's season. Kane, what did you make of it? Because we saw the good, the bad and the ugly from the Saints this year.
All of that. And how much weight do you put on the finish? I mean, they did storm home. They won 6 out of their last 8 games and played the sort of footy that we probably expected from the majority of the season. But it was a slow start. They really struggled to score at stages throughout the season, which has been well documented, and they could move the ball from their back half to their forward half, no worries, but they moved it at a slower pace, which allowed the opposition to get back, which meant that last kick going inside forward 50. We didn't see much of that. So that's what we did see towards the end of the season, but not early on. There was no real connection between mid and forward and defence, and I thought that was because whilst they moved it okay, they moved it too slowly and it was too easy to defend against. I still think they're too defensive. When you go and watch a St Kilda game, you just watch how many St Kilda players flood back in front of the kicker from the opposition. So when they do turn it over, that's why they have to go wide, they have to go slow, and they can't put any speed on the ball. So Ross Lyon will really critically need to address that this pre-season.
Well, 5th for points against this year, so that shows how good their defence was. If the positive was them winning 6 of their last 8, I think there's a problem in terms of how they use Max King going forward. So he missed the last 8 games, which is when their scoring went up, when they started recording victories. He didn't play every game through the first 16 weeks of the season, but they were 5 and 10 in that patch. I think their forward line functioned better without him at stages last year.
Yeah, and I think that's a reasonable comparison to realisation to draw. But firstly, he's got to get sound. He's got to get himself sound, because I think what we've seen from Max King is a player who hasn't had full confidence in his body. If he has that, then you can put him in the ruck. Yeah. You can get him right up the ground. You can see him marking on the logos like Jesse Hogan does, or like Joe Danaher going into the ruck. But unfortunately, he hasn't had the confidence in his body to be able to do that, and the Saints haven't had the confidence in his body to be able to put him in those situations. So will he ever get there? I don't know, because throughout the course of his young career and at the early stages of his AFL career, he's been hampered by serious injuries.
I think he will. It's just in terms of how they use him going forward. All right, let's have a look at St Kilda's moment of the year. And it came with just 12 seconds left in their entire season when Jack Higgins kicked this goal just to finish the season on the high and give them a bit of positivity going into the summer to beat Carlton.
Yeah, just broke the hearts of all the Carlton supporters in that moment until Port Adelaide saved the day for the Blues fans. You can see the devastation there, what it's like to be a Carlton supporter, you know all too well. But I loved Ross Lyon's attitude with the end of the season. There was other teams that really turned their toes up. Melbourne, we saw what Richmond did, we saw what Gold Coast did, North and West, and for them to really dig in. So now every game means something. If I was a St Kilda supporter, that's the attitude I would want my team to take. Now, it means you get a worse draft pick. It means you probably go into the middle third of the draw in terms of difficulty, which is another problem for them. And I don't know how they improve the list, because everyone's going to have a good pick. They're going to have pick 7. Who can they get to come into the team? Clearly, the midfield is still an issue when you look at their numbers through the midfield. That was their biggest concern. Scores from stoppage, 17th. And Ross Lyon, many times throughout the year, kept referencing the midfield as the issue.
He was the Grinch, Ross Lyon, in the back half of the campaign with those 6 wins from the last 8. In terms of St Kilda's star, I don't think it could be anyone else apart from Nazai Wanganeen-Miller. Watching him across the course of the season, I reckon he's almost their most important player now, the way he gets their ball movement going. And he's so good defensively as well.
Look at this. I mean, high up in the coaches' votes across the competition as well, particularly for running defenders. As I said with Rioli, every team needs an attacking halfback that can use the footy. And from the minute he was first drafted, they said, this guy's the best kick in the team. And that's the case. He's the one that's willing to take risks with the ball. So when he plays well, when Henry plays well, when Hill plays well, Wilson gives them the run. You can see the exact personnel Ross Lyon is trying to build his game style around, and we saw glimpses of that, particularly in games like in the second half against Geelong, where they just ripped them apart with their ball movement.
So they finish at 11 and 12. Their percentage nearly ticked up above 100 towards the end of the campaign. What do you give them as a grade?
Yeah, probably a C+. I mean, they hosted an elimination final last year, so the drop-off was significant, and the start to the year was disappointing. How much weight do you put on the really strong finish when the pressure is off? You can be the judge of that, but I think a C+ is fair, and I don't think they're going to be a finals contender again next year.
Kane, appreciate your time today. This was the season that was on AFL.com.au, where we're wrapping up every club's 2024 campaign.